Hello and welcome to Mad About Sports. Today we're going to be talking about Harry Kane because he is on the verge of maybe moving to Bayern Munich. And at the same time, in today's video, we're going to be talking about why Harry Kane is possibly the most creative number 9 in world of football. So today we're going to be looking at with stats, with his gameplay, and how is he possibly going to fit into the Bayern Munich system. To start out with, let's understand what Harry Kane is. Harry Kane has been a prolific goal scorer for the Tottenham Hotspurs and even for the national English national team. And you have to say one of the best number 9s out there when it comes to statistical representations as well. He's been right up there with the number of goals he has scored, and at the same time, right up there with the number of chances he has created as well. Now, if you have to talk about Harry Kane in particular, he is a player who's a standout in comparison with a lot of strikers out there in their Premier League. His awareness, when it comes to his awareness inside the box, when it comes to his technical ability to create a play, when it comes to his goal involvement rate, it is phenomenal, and it is a lot for a number 9 to have. And when you talk about a sole number 9, what does he bring into the four? Is it just the goals, or is it just him getting involved in a lot more off the ball work as well? Definitely, when we talk about Harry Kane, he brings into the picture of a lot of off the ball works as well. So for that, let's look into some of the data to understand what he's been doing over the last few seasons, especially last season, and what he's been doing with the English national team as well. To start out with, let's understand with the most shot creating actions. Now, when you look at the shot creating actions, it's 0.35 and it's 77 percentile. That is a lot of shot creating action, and shot creation action when it comes to pass dead, or when it comes to passes live, or when it comes to is passer into the penalty area, the last stats out there, it is 1.26. And that is a good amount when it comes to a metric. And when it comes to say 86 percentile, he's been able to contribute, and is passer into the final third, 95 percentile. That is a very good stat to have in itself as well. Now, key passes were 1.48 and 86 percentile. Now, that is what we talk about Harry Kane. Now, his progressive passes, him as a striker, is just not about scoring the goals. He can be a lot more creative when it comes to his involvement in the game, when it comes to him putting the ball in. Now, if you look at a system like Tottenham Hotspurs, the number of times he's gotten the wingers involved, the number of times he's got Heung-min Son involved to make Heung-min Son move up the field a lot more, Harry Kane dropping a lot more in the middle of the park, and maybe playing as a number 10 more often than not as well. Now, if you look at Harry Kane's profile, he could be a sole number 9 in many of these teams, but his profile is a lot more than what he really brings into the four. He can be a solid number 10 in occasions. He can be a second striker. He can play as an attacking midfielder if need be. But then that is a whole package which comes in with Harry Kane, the player. He is a lot versatile when it comes to his involvement in the game, his off the ball movement, and his defensive actions as well. Now, that is where we're talking about his percentage. Now, passes completed. Now, a pass completion in percentage, 77.8 percentage in 100 minutes, in 90 minutes. That's a very good amount of pass completion rate for someone like Harry Kane, who has been a striker for a lot of his years. And if you talk about his involvement over the years, he's evolved as a player. He's got the game maturity, and he's been able to win the ball, create plays, involve in the goals a lot more, maybe helping the number 8s to make those in behind runs where he puts the ball in. Maybe if you have inverted wingers who get involved, they can cut inside the box, but Harry Kane can just drop slightly deeper. Now, even when it comes to off the ball movements, is in behind runs, is decoy runs, and its aerial presence. It's incredible for someone to have. Now, if you look at the long passes attempted or long passes completed, the passes completed as well, 2.67 and 97 percentile. Now, for a striker of that mold, that is a very good that's a very good stat to have in itself. And that is where we are going to bring in about as most important stat, if you can talk about a striker, that is per 90 what he brings into the goal involvements, isn't it? Now, per 90, 0.75 goals every game he plays, with 95 percentile. Shots on target is 3.46, and shots on target is 1.41, and shots total is 3.46. And even if you look at his XG is 0.18 and 92 percentile when it comes to his penalty and non-penalty XG. And now he's a penalty taker for the Spurs, but at the same time, number of goals he scored without penalty as well, non-penalty goals as well, has been phenomenal stat for him to really look into. That is where Harry Kane, a whole package, is a phenomenal player to have. Now, if you have to really pick up some of the better stats of his, you can pick up from the national team's games in the World Cup, how he was so effective for English national team in the World Cup. He scored 2 goals there, but now we'll be talking about what he was doing off the ball, the number of passes he attempted, the way in which he got in Saka and Sterling involved, the number of times he made Mason Mount run up front, the number of times he really made Jude Bellingham to move up the field a lot more, him dropping in a slightly deeper. Now that is a whole package in itself. Now if you have to bring you some of the goal involvements, if you have to bring you some of the stats as well. If you look at this, was one of the goals which Sterling had scored against Iran, and you can see in this particular image where how Harry Kane has dropped a lot deeper in the field, and he was the play had started from Harry Kane itself, and that is where you have to be very honest about Harry Kane. He can win you the ball and start a play from it itself, and that is where his chance creation and his build-up play is way ahead of a lot of strikers, a lot of compatriots of his in the modern day game, and he's a dream player for any manager to have. And if you have to be very honest about how Harry Kane has evolved over the years, you have to say Harry Kane's involvement, especially in the final third, is one of the primary reasons why he is the player for Tottenham Hotspur to really look into. Now, for Harry Kane as well, how important is it going to be for him to move to a team which can possibly win a lot of trophies? Now, if you talk about Harry Kane's involvements in the recent past, when it comes to his goals, it's been phenomenal. But at the same time, when it comes to him not winning trophies, that's been the biggest complaint. Now, if you look in English national team as well, they came to the Euro finals, they played the World Cup quarterfinals, they played the World Cup semi-finals 4 years ago, came third place in the Nations League, but not quite the silverware for a player like Harry Kane to really win. He's not quite won anything major, both with the national team and also with his club side. So is it about time for him to win something? Yes, obviously it is. Now that is where you have to be very honest about how a player like Harry Kane can possibly do that. So now is that Bayern Munich is it the answer for a lot of things? Could possibly be. Bayern Munich is a major club. They are guaranteed of winning the Bundesliga almost every season. They've been doing that for last decade, quite consistently. Now, what and how can he possibly fit into a Bayern Munich system? Now, if you look at Bayern Munich in the last season, you have to admit that they've not had the best of times. Under Thomas Tuchel, they had a horrendous start to it. Now, though they won the Bundesliga, look at this in some of the major games they played. They took 100 shots and they were only able to score 6 goals. Now, that is so unlike Bayern Munich. Though they have a system which is very well oiled, which they had a system under Nagelsmann which was very well oiled, but under Thomas Tuchel, it definitely took a little bit of adaptation as well, because the shocker of a sack of Nagelsmann, for a lot of reasons, which is not so quite footballing, was one of the major reasons why Bayern Munich had to look for a new system and a new manager. And Thomas Tuchel obviously started with the system of 4-2-3-1, where he had double pivot of Goretzka and Kimmich, and that is how it started off. And at times he also tried Gavin Beer in a couple of matches as well as a pivot. But when it comes to the final third and the finishers, they never had a number 9 for the entire season. They definitely tried. They definitely tried Tell. They definitely tried someone like Sadio Mane, Zane, and Nabri, but it never came as a proper number 9 mold. They were not quite comfortable, especially in the box, to be that sole finisher to play from the middle of the park. This is where Bayern Munich really lagged. Now, if you look at that stat out there, their XD in 100 shots were quite poor. Now, that is where you have to be saying that XG per shot is 0.13, and shots was 106 goals is all what they scored. And inside the box number of shots they have taken, their finishing was way below par. And if you look at Bayern Munich, in the new system under Thomas Tuchel, they like to have a proper build-up. It's 3-2 build-up, which is so different with Nagelsmann's build-up, which they had of 3-1. And more of these occasions, what happens was Bayern Munich was unable to come back from the number of times they had conceded. If you look at Nagelsmann's system, they were quite susceptible on the counters. Even in Tuchel's system, they are slow build-up team. But now, how are we going to solve the biggest issue? Who's going to be creating the chances, and who's going to be the ones who's going to be finishing the chances created by Jamal Musiala, the number of chances created by the Kimmich or Goretzka right in the middle of the park? Now, that is where you would want someone like a Harry Kane to fit into the system. Now, if you have to be very honest with Bayern Munich, they would want that sort of striker, especially with Thomas Tuchel, who can do a lot more off-the-ball work. Maybe get Jamal Musiala involved a lot more in these occasions. But Jamal Musiala, he's creative at the same time, can be a very good goal scorer as well. A perfect foil of a number 10 who can do a lot more work off the ball. At the same time, it's a very good presser of the ball and can be a second striker on occasions. And if you have to say someone, if you have to unlock someone like a Zani, an Abri, or a Coleman to be extremely effective on the wings and for them to cut inside the box, you would need a striker who can be slightly more slightly more effective with the ball, who can drop down a little bit, create the chances, put the ball slightly wider, help them to get involved a lot more. And that is where Harry Kane is a perfect fit into any system you can get him into. And Bayern Munich could possibly be that system for him. Bayern Munich could possibly be a career-changing move for someone like a Harry Kane as well. Now, what is it going to happen or not? It is only time later, because Bayern Munich have already approached Tottenham with their bid, and Tottenham have decided to, deny it, turn it down. But if Bayern Munich gets the bid through, and if Harry Kane makes a move to the Bayern Munich team, it's going to be definitely an exciting time for Thomas Tuchel to manage someone like a Harry Kane. And of course, for Bayern Munich as well, because they're going to get an efficient and a potent goal scorer, which they've been missing since the departure of their ace man for a lot of years, which is Robert Lewandowski. Here is the end of the video for all of you guys. If you did really enjoy this video, do not forget to share and subscribe to our channel. And at the same time, click the bell icon as well. So the next time we post a video, you get the notification. And also share this video with as many people as possible, so we can keep bringing you all these exciting content. And also, do not forget to check out our course with Mad About Sports, where we are offering the latest cricketing analytics course and also on football analytics. If you're an aspiring analyst who would want to work on football teams, this could be a stepping stone into a great career of yours. Have a good time, all of you. See you all very soon.